some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I came to play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me. Then I double up and get none of their nose. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted. So I'm 10 to 1 if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close. I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke. I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where. I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious.
What's going on, drivers? Well, we're going to talk about a few things in this video. New to the channel, please like, subscribe, all that kind of good stuff. We're going to get into politics a little bit. The current state of politics, well, politics always affects drivers a lot. Affects all of us. It can affect laws that they impose on us. It can affect freight, the volume of freight rates. So it has a lot to do with truck drivers. So whatever's going on in Washington, D.C. or around the world is really important. Imported goods, we move that stuff, all that kind of stuff. It's really important to us, right? So we're going to get into a couple things in this video. First, I'm going to talk about this stuff going on with China and Russia. Now, first thing to remember is I'm not an expert. It's all my opinion, outside looking in. That's all it is, just my opinion. All right, so none of this is expert testimony to nothing. Just an American truck driver's opinion. Keep that in mind. All right. I know in today's world we have a hard time separating opinion from fact. A lot of people think that their opinion is fact. It's not the case. Well, I'm a realist. I know that my opinion is my opinion. It's not necessarily fact. This stuff going on with Russia, China, Ukraine, Iran, all this stuff happening, it affects us as drivers a lot. Okay, because it's imported goods. If we go to war with them, it could slow down or stop imported goods, which would affect our freight here a lot. Also, as we have tensions between each other, they're not shipping as much, so that slows a lot of the freight down here in the country. I'm a little concerned with how far this is going to go, and we're going to get into that here in a minute because I think it leads into what I'm going to talk about later in this video. A lot of y'all saw Andrew Tate. He's been released from jail finally. And it's crazy because he was held in jail for months and literally no evidence, no nothing. I personally believe they held him in jail to try to reduce his influence online, try to reduce his influence to the world. I think that's going to have a opposite effect because now even people that didn't like Andrew Tate, I believe, are going to start watching him because they're going to want to know, what's this guy saying that the powers that be are trying to silence him? What's this guy? Is he onto something? Because if he wasn't onto something, they wouldn't be trying to silence him. So he's obviously onto something, right? You can stand out on the street and say whatever. The government's not going to pay you any mind if you're talking nonsense that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. You know what I'm saying? So what is Andrew Tate onto that they are going this far to try to knock him off his pedestal, take his voice away, and trying to destroy him? He talked about it a long time ago. It's a step process. Well, if he's right about the step process, the next step in the process is to kill him. So hopefully he's not right about the process, but we will see. We'll see how that goes. I don't know what y'all's thoughts on it are, but that's what I think. Finally, we're going to get to this Trump thing. They indicted Trump on 34 felony charges. Now, they've released these felony charges. You can go look at them yourself, all right? Google it. It'll come up. I went and looked at them. It is hogwash, all right? It's hogwash. Number one, all the charges can come down to one charge, all right? And that one charge is they're claiming that he used campaign funds to pay off Stormy Daniels. That's what they're claiming, which would be misuse of campaign funds. One charge, which is actually a misdemeanor, by the way. And to go a step further with that, Hillary Clinton was actually fined for that very same thing just last year, and it was kept quiet. You can Google that. You can look that up as well. Why are they going to such an extreme to lock Donald Trump up or to make it where he can't run for president or whatever? First off, it's a timing thing. We have the 2024 elections coming up. They timed this out just right. All right. They could have charged him with this 2 years ago. It was a timing thing. You also have to remember that that district attorney that's in place over there in Manhattan, he's financially backed by George Soros. So that has a lot to do with it as well. Now here's the other thing. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, he'll never be convicted. There's no way. He'll never be convicted." Even the Democrats are saying it's a weak case. Yeah, it is a weak case. All right. And odds are he's probably innocent. He probably paid her out of his own money. All right. He probably didn't use campaign funds. All right. And it's crazy how they broke these charges down. You got him paying Stormy Daniels as a charge, logging it in his accounting log. That's another charge. The receipt that his lawyer gave him, that's another charge. It literally is every step in the process, of one thing that he did that they took and made 34 separate felonies out of it. Not only that, but all these charges are actually misdemeanors that the DA there upgraded to Class E felonies. You know what E stands for in New York? Barely a felony. And this DA is normally soft on crime. So this is totally a political agenda. It has nothing to do with nothing else. It's 100% a political agenda. I don't even think you got to be an expert to know that, which is scary. And I'm going to get into that here in a second. But here's the thing. In my opinion, in my personal opinion, they can convict him. And here's why. They're doing it in New York. They're doing it in the perfect place. He's facing 168 years if he's convicted on all of the counts that they have against him. I believe it's strategic, it's tactical, and whether he's guilty or not, because of the location that they have filed these charges, if he doesn't get it moved to another place, I honestly believe they can convict him. They have a very good chance of convicting him in that court, in that specific spot. And I hate to say it, I know a lot of people out there are going to say, no. But I'm telling you, think about it. It's a highly Democrat area, and they filed it there for a reason. Would he be convicted in Arizona or Iowa or Texas or Florida? No, it never would have come up on a charge. The jury agreed to indict him. They indicted him. I'm telling you, the chances of a conviction because of where it's at are really, really high. And I honestly believe that they would convict an innocent man and send him to prison for 168 years of his life to keep him from being president. Now, let's flip to the other side of that coin. Do I personally think Donald Trump needs to be president again? No, I don't. I agreed with him being president the first time. I do not agree with him being president this time. I'm going to tell you why. Number one, we're totally divided as a country, and he draws too much division. We need somebody with the same ideas, somebody with the same knowledge, but we don't need him. We need somebody with the same agenda, but not Donald Trump. I believe when he ran the first time, he ran with the people in mind. I believe this time, it's all ego. It ain't got nothing to do with us. It's all ego. That's 100% what it is. I don't think it's got anything to do with saving America. I don't think it's got anything to do with making America great again. I think it is strictly ego. In my personal opinion, DeSantis would be a better candidate for presidency. He knows how to talk. He's got a lot of the same ideas that Trump has. He knows how to bring people together. He doesn't do as much of the rhetoric that divides people, okay? And he knows how to give a speech properly, right? So that's my own personal opinion. I believe that if Trump's elected, and it's kind of a lose-lose thing, I mean, do we end up with a civil war? We end up with a civil war. If they convict this man or kill him, we're probably going to end up with a civil war of some sort. If they don't convict him, he runs for president and gets elected again, we probably may end up with a civil war of sorts. So I mean, it's a lose-lose situation no matter what. Trump should have just stepped back and said, you know what? I'm 70-something years old. I've already been president. I'm going to help support another candidate that's got a good chance, that has a lot of the same ideas I have. That's what he should have done, in my opinion. But his ego won't let him. And here's the other problem, and this is something that's really concerning to me. The people that support Trump, they treat him almost like a god. Can't do no wrong. You will get in a fist fight in certain places if you say anything bad about Trump. Dude, you walk into some place and say, man, Trump walked out of the bathroom and didn't wash his hands. You could have seen it with your own eyes. And you're about to have a problem. You may very well have a fist fight on your hands. I mean, it's almost an occult following. He doesn't have a normal following. It's almost an occultic following. And that right there is scary. Because no man should be followed to that level. Something's wrong when it's at that level. I believe they opened the door and they created a problem. Because now you have arrested a political opponent and charged him with a crime. So you've broke the glass. You have stepped across that line. So now that's going to become a thing in this country. When you have a political opponent, now that's going to be the thing. That's the problem. It happened to Trump. It can also happen to Obama. It can also happen to Hillary Clinton. And before you guys jump on me and say, well, Obama never did nothing. You had the Fast and Furious thing with the guns that went down to Mexico. They ended up in the Border Patrol's hand or cartel's hands. And some of our Border Patrol agents were killed in the process. You had the pallet of money that was sent over to Iran. You have Benghazi, where they almost bluntly waited until their political opponent, who was a Republican and who was there, was killed before they responded to that, when they could have responded to it much earlier. Yes, there are crimes they could be filed against them and they could be convicted on and sent to prison for. So, in this country, we've always kind of backed off of that kind of stuff. We do impeachments. We've impeached a few presidents. But we've never gone as far as we've gone now. But now we have. So now that's going to become the thing. If you can't beat your opponent, build up some charges, send them to prison. That's the kind of things that happens in communist countries. That's not the kind of things that happen here in America. And I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, that should scare the shit out of you.
This is how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes. Stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I can play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me. Then I double up again, none of their knows. None of them cold, they just got lucky but never adapted. So I'm 10 to 1 if it's coming to blows. My enemies cutting it close. I let them think that they got me, but what do you know? I had them beat before we ever spoke. I'm ready for smoke. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where. I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me.